Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll call this meeting of the Woodford County Fiscal Court's Personnel Committee to order. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that all members of the Personnel Committee are present. We'll start out with the agenda for the Personnel Committee items. The first being the Maintenance Specialist 1 and 2 job duties and descriptions. And I'll give you all a little bit of a background on that our maintenance team is to the point where we have a difference in level of experience, skill, and ability. And so we have separated those two out. I will note that this does not have any, does not come with any salary adjustment request, but it would be something that we would look at in the budget to probably true up. But before we recommend the approval of these job duties and descriptions to the fiscal court, do you all have any questions thereon? Does any member of the fiscal court that's not on the personnel committee have any questions on that? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to recommend to the full fiscal court the approval of the maintenance specialist 1 and 2 job duties and descriptions as presented. Motion by Squire Gentry. Second by Squire Carl. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And that motion carries. The second item in the Personnel Committee would be the road department increases. And you all have seen that we've shared with you all the approval of $1 per hour increase effective today for each member of the road department. And this would be also to exempt the 1-year rule on employee pay adjustments for the county road department employees. So in working with the road department right now, we're in a position that we're working on a reorganization following the departure of our road supervisor, Bo Wilson. And right now we have several open positions. We have several open seasonal positions. And again, we have the open road supervisor position. So we have our crews doing a lot more work. And if you look at their pay, in the reorganization, we're going to be recommending some salary adjustments. So as a way for retention, to recognize that they're understaffed and to assist them in moving forward in this time of transition, I would recommend that the committee recommend the approval of the $1 per hour for each employee effective today, and it be exempted from the 1-year rule. Is there a motion for that? Motion by Squire Carl.
Second.
Second by Squire Gentry. I would open up the floor for any discussions or questions thereon from any members of the committee. Seeing none, are there any members of the fiscal court that have any questions thereon? Squire Brown.
How many do we have now?
Full total employees?
Mm-hmm. At the road department? Yeah. 13, I didn't see the.
It is 12.
12 on here.
Okay, so how many more we need?
Well, we're going to present a reorganization, Squire Brown,
Okay.
that will, in working with the department, we're going to be able to ascertain how many full-time we need. We had several seasonal positions, which we've utilized in the past that were pretty effective, but we're not able to fill those positions in the way that we intended. So I'm not sure how many total employees the reorganization will ultimately consider, but the goal for the Personnel Committee and working with Human Resources Manager Teresa Tipton is that we will keep the current budget allotments, but take care of the department within that amount for this fiscal year. And that may include increases in the next budget, but that's the goal. Other questions? Comments? Seeing none, the motion's on the table. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And that motion carries. I've placed at your station the existing job duty description for county road engineer and Woodford County Road Supervisor. You all have those. These have already been approved. There are current job duties and descriptions. I will make one note that in our advertisement, we're going to have a general preference given to applicants who reside in Woodford County. That's an important part of the job. It's not a requirement, but it is a preference because of the nature of the work that they do. But if in the job duty and description, if any member of the committee or the full fiscal court has any additional duties, requirements, things that they think may need or they would like to see as part of the duties and descriptions, please let myself or the clerk or Teresa Tipton know. But we've taken these two job descriptions and placed them into a job opening advertisement. You all will recall that we did approve to go ahead and advertise for the position, but I want to make it abundantly clear that we are, in accordance with state law, the fiscal court is considering candidates for this department head role under two distinct classifications, county road engineer or road supervisor. The final title and scope of responsibilities will be determined based on the successful candidate's qualifications, meaning that whoever is successful will ultimately dictate whether we want to hire a county road engineer or a supervisor. But we will be advertising for both in one advertisement. So I need a motion from the committee to recommend to the full fiscal court the approval of the advertisement for the road supervisor and engineer for hiring.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Gentry, second by Squire Carl. Any questions? Any questions from the court? Squire Taylor, you're recognized.
What was the timeline again on this?
We have 3 months. Mr. County Attorney, could I actually ask you to give some insight on that timeline, please?
We are what, Judge, about 1 month in on our temporary
Roughly.
replacement,
Yes,
and that's a 3-month period. So hopefully you all will be in a position in 2 months to make that hire. One thing to keep in mind, this is an odd statute. The term of employment is to be set by the fiscal court. It's either 2 years or 4 years, so a minimum of 2, a maximum of 4. But the statute says the term is supposed to start on the second Tuesday in January of an odd-numbered year. Well, we're in an even-numbered year, and so that ain't happening this year. So there is a little leeway in the statute. It says other terms of employment shall be fixed by the fiscal court. I think that would allow you all to set a roughly 3-year term of office for whoever you hire, and then it'll get it back on track. That term would go through January 8th of 2029, and that would get it back on track to start on the second Tuesday in 2029, an odd number year. But we're good right now. We're 1 month in on our 3 months, which we're allowed to do, and then if we do make a hire, I'm going to suggest you make sure they know it's going to be at least initially for 3 years. And then the successor fiscal court in 2029 can make the decision about whether it should be 2 or 4 at that time.
Good question. Thank you, Mr. County Attorney.
Thank you, Judge.
And let me ask other members of the court, do you have questions regarding the motion on the table, which is to approve the advertisement for the road supervisor and engineer? Seeing none. On the committee, all those in favor of the motion, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And that motion carries. Habit, just habit. All right. Does anybody have any other personnel committee questions? Anything else to come before the personnel committee? Seeing none, I will deem the personnel committee adjourned. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for the Contracts and Leases Committee, which is hereby called to order?
Squire Gentry. Here. Squire Varner.
Here.
Squire Blackford. Here. Judge Executive K.
Yes, ma'am. So we are currently in the Contracts and Leases Committee, and we have several items to take up in the committee. And so the first I'd like to take up is 2B, the Community Stadium Turf Partnership Agreement. I'd entertain a motion to recommend to the full fiscal court the approval of the Community Stadium Turf and Usage Partnership Agreement, contingent upon approval of our contributing partners, including the Woodford County Board of Education, City of Versailles, Woodford County Youth Soccer Association, and the Woodford County Youth Football Association. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Squire Varner, second by Squire Blackford. Now I'd like to open up the discussion regarding the turf partnership agreement for the turf at the stadium. Squire Varner, you're recognized, sir.
Judge, I know when we discussed this before, you were going to make sure all these folks are in on their part of this now
Yes.
to proceed forward on.
So thank you, Squire Varner. Each entity has expressed the desire to move forward with the agreement. They may not have their full approvals from their legislative bodies, but my understanding is that everybody is on track to take it up and approve it. So our motion is contingent upon their approval.
Thank you, Judge. That's what I was asking. Thank you.
Everybody is definitely interested and so for example, I have discussed this with both the superintendent, the mayor of Versailles, the WISA folks, and the youth football, and I was given the okay to circulate this and send this out, if that makes sense. Yes, sir. And we do have Director Pictor here if you have any questions, but I won't make him draw the short straw. Answer any questions that you may have. Squire Gill, you had a question, ma'am?
Yeah, I got a couple of calls about this. They've noticed that the work's already started, and they were wondering were there competitive bids, or did we not have to do that for this?
Director Pictor?
Yes, they were all competitive bidding.
Okay.
It was bid along with all the other turf projects that are
Okay.
under the special project. So the multipurpose youth field, the 2 baseball fields, and the stadium field got bid together as a competitive bids. So I think we had 4 total bids, if I'm correct. What we did was we bid the stadium as an addendum, so they had to bid the other 3 and that one, but we get the cost savings when we hire one contractor to do all.
All right, thank
But
you.
it was all bid out.
Good question, Squire Gill. Other questions? Other questions? Seeing none, I will reiterate it's a motion to recommend to the full fiscal court the approval of the stadium turf agreement contingent upon the approval from the contributing partners. All those in favor on the committee of recommending the full fiscal court, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. The second item is the Woodford County Fair Board lease update. And let me say that I want to reiterate that the fiscal court, myself, many others are heartbroken and saddened by the loss of Melanie Wiley, who was both an officer, a leader, and an important part of the Woodford County Fair Association and the fair. I know in my communications with Madam Chair, Mary Lou Watkins, that it is difficult for them both emotionally and procedurally moving forward because Melanie was the treasurer. We have some what I would consider productive lease discussions going on with the fair, and I'd like to thank Squire Darrell Varner for his work on that, and we've also worked with the county attorney on that as well. So I would ask that the committee recommend to the full fiscal court that we finalize our version of the Fair Board lease to send to them for their final review and approval. My recommendation would be that Squire Varner, myself, and the county attorney would be the contingency upon approving that final version. We're very close, I think, Squire Varner. So I think if that would be the will of the committee, we would entertain a motion contingent upon R3 approval that we present a final version to the Fair Board. And because time is of the essence, if you are allowed to give us that approval, then we will recirculate the final version for your review prior to going to the Fair Board, and then we will send it to the Fair Board. So is there a motion for same?
So move.
There's a motion? And a second. Are there any questions or comments thereon?
Judge.
Mr. County Attorney, sir.
I would like to point out, first of all, thank the judge and Squire Barner for the work y'all put in on this. And we've had delays, not of our doing, that's kind of caused us to not proceed as quickly as we would have liked. But due to your all's work, as I understand it, we avoided the conflicts that had existed in terms of scheduling at the end of May and early June. And so even though we don't have this signed yet, we don't have to worry about that, as I understand it, being a concern. Is that correct? So we've already accomplished that, and that was part of the negotiation. So yes, I think we can either get this hopefully approved as is, or with some minor changes that we might still be able to revisit down the road.
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney. Thank you, Squire Barner. Squire Gentry.
How close is the agreement to the last draft?
So I think one of the things that we will take up are a few provisions that are sticking points, so to speak, and determine whether or not those are requirements on our side or not. And I think if they're not, then we can probably either take those out or move those to a later term in the lease. But I think there are some things that both the court and our working group, so to speak, really believe are necessary to move forward. So those would be not taken out, if that makes sense. Squire Gill? No, ma'am. Okay. Other questions or comments? Seeing none. There is a motion on the table. All those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That motion carries. The 911 billing contract for EMS, let me just give you all an update that the county attorney has reviewed that, as have I, and we have recommended a few changes to go back to the company. So that's not right for your discussion or action this evening. But I would say that contingent upon the county attorney and my final review, I would request the ability to approve that agreement, if there would be a recommendation to the court on that. Is there a motion for that? Motion. Motion by Squire Blackford. Second by Squire Gentry. Are there any questions on the billing services agreement? Again, we will send you the final version of that, but if that is completed in a manner which we can move it forward in between meetings and the county attorney approves, we will do that. Assuming that our recommendation passes the full court. So all those in favor of the motion on the table, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That motion too carries unanimously. Finally, you have the electrical inspector services agreement. I would let you all know that Mr. James McLean has been the Woodford County electrical inspector for over 20 years. In the last several months, in this past year in 2025, Mr. McLean really performed amazing service to our community and our constituents that were impacted by the flood. He really did a great job. I know that he spent extra time, he took extra attention, and he waived a lot of his fees to help people restore their service, get electricians back in their houses, and he just did a tremendous job. So I want to say that I'm recommending that we renew his agreement for another term. The one fee change that he had that changed was the new service fee, which would be increased from $75 to $100. From my review of several of our surrounding counties, his fee costs are conservative and low compared to many of the other surrounding counties. And he has kept those the same, which is also a benefit, in my opinion, to our constituents. The one thing that I will say is that we have not requested or sought other quotes or electrical inspectors to give us a proposal on any of the agreements. That's not required. It is a service. It does not have to be bid. It does not have to be quoted. But I do believe that had our current electrical inspector not performed as admirably he did and did the sacrifices and work and made the proposal that he did, we might seek outside quotes and proposals. But we have not on this. And my recommendation is that we would continue to employ Mr. McLean as our electrical inspector under the agreement presented to this committee. And I would recommend that to the full fiscal court for approval. So is there a motion on same?
Motion.
Motion by Squire Gentry.
Second.
Second by Squire Varner. I would open up the floor for any discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. That being the sum of the business to become before the Contracts and Leases Committee, does anybody else have any other item for the Contracts and Leases Committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned. We will reconvene in the Committee of the Whole in 8 minutes. For all of our guests that have joined us, welcome. Our Committee of the Whole will gavel in and be called to order in 8 minutes. Thank you for being here. I would request that we are very likely to have a full house this afternoon, and that that we allow folks to get into the open seats if possible. But if anybody needs any accommodations or needs anything, please just let us know. Thank you. We are adjourned.